All right, can you see me?
I can. I cannot see. Hi, Percy.
Hi.
I can see your first name,
Huh. All
but
right.
I
Let
can
me-
hear you.
Okay, so all right, here we go. There we go.
Yep, there you are.
Yeah, so I have vacated my studio from downstairs with all the internet stuff, so this is safer up here in the loft.
All right, cool. Can you hear
Uh,
me? Can you hear me okay here? Or
I can hear you just fine.
all right. So what I normally try to do is just a quick sound video check.
Yeah,
You got your guitar, I can see, right?
yeah,
So if you're able to, maybe just play a verse or two, and sing, just to check that out.
yeah. We'll get
All
so
right.
we'll do a little flip flop in the OBS. 5 o'clock on Friday. This meeting's moving way too slow. I should be on the road right now, headed for the coast. I'll be flip-flopping the OBX all weekend long. Water as far as I can see is where I belong. I'll be flip-flopping the OBX from the sound to the sea. How we doing?
Good. Sounds good, man. Sounds really good.
Had some other mics that I can use for this at one point, but once the power went out and all the above, I've just stripped everything down so we could at least have this and work tonight.
So it sounds great. My thought is, when you're in the segment where you're playing guitar,
Yeah.
can you back up at all, or just so people see your guitar with you, uh, or
Yeah.
or adjust the screen?
How's
That's
that?
that's
That-
better. If you came down even a little bit more, just downward, I think. Go ahead and play.
let's see here.
Oh, that's perfect, Percy. That's really good. In fact, I wouldn't change that screen, because you're there. Everyone can see you, but they can see your guitar and all that. So
Can you still hear pretty well from back here?
try it again. Run a verse or
Let's
something.
see. He wakes up every morning to the sound of the waves crashing on the hull of his boat, puts a smile on his face. He drinks his morning coffee on the deck as the sun comes up through the wake on the water. He watches dolphins jump, 'cause he lives on a boat, sailing on the sea. How's that volume?
Good.
All right.
Um, we'll have a little echo for a second, just because I'm going to launch the show and I use another device, but then I cut it right out. Um, so two things. Did you enable original sound?
I did. It's on.
Yeah,
Yes.
it sounds good. Like nothing. The thing with original sound with musicians, if you don't enable it, they noise cancel stuff, and for guitars, it can be hard. It can be hard.
Yeah.
So it sounds good. We're gonna record this. I think. Yep, recording's enabled. I'm gonna turn on my original sound, though. I'm using a mic through an interface here, so it's usually fine. But I do that anyway. And how we usually start the show is it's like a short intro. So I screen share that, and then we're right into the interview. So
Okay.
uh, it's 6:54. I got a lot of questions, so I hope that you're all right with some of that.
Yeah, it's
What's going
fun.
on with my screen tonight? I'm gonna have to figure that out. Maybe too much light. I'm not sure. Usually I don't have green screen. Let me just play with that for a second. I know what to do. I'll be right back, Percy.
Okay.
right. I think that solved it. Okay. That's better.
While we haven't started yet. Me answer no, man. He let go. There we go. My son was calling me. It's like,
Well, take the call. I mean, we got
he's gone now, so he's good.
5 minutes or so. So usually when we go live from Zoom, it literally like takes 30 seconds. I have a 30-second show intro, and then we just go right into it. So
Okay.
works pretty well. Just gonna make one adjustment here. All right, that's set. Now we just got to do this. All right, I'm pretty ready to go live. I mean, we got 3 minutes.
Okay.
I usually take my guests. I know, kind of. I usually take my guests back in history to their childhood, to their musical memories back there, their musical inspirations.
All right.
And then we kind of flash forward, talk about life as it is now, inspirations. We tend to look at the songwriting process in specifics, and that usually happens after you play a few tunes.
Okay.
Usually my guest Percy, they'll play like 2 or 3 tunes. It's up to you. What they tend to do, and I encourage, is after each song we kind of just talk briefly about it.
Yeah.
Or even beforehand as an introduction is a better idea instead of after the fact. Just kind of the genesis for the tune and what it means to you lyrically and things like that. And then we'll talk about other musicians in your life, bandmates, things like that, producers, studio activity, interactions, history, things like that, and any other fun tidbits you can throw out there. We try to keep this light and fun. I will try my best to crack some jokes. And we'll see how that goes. But it's 6:59, and so I'm going to go live.
Okay.
Hop over here. It's a timing thing to get it right. So I'm going to just go for it here. Let's see. Here we go. Seems to be going through fine. Tired of the sunset blues. That's when I met you. That rainy kiss at the bookstore cafe. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me all right. We're going to get rid of that. My name is Tiki Tim. You would know me also as, and hopefully we're here live, and we are. So we're back this week a little early. We usually do this show on Wednesday nights. We're here on Tuesday, and that's because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, tomorrow night is Cinco de Mayo.
Yes.
It is. All right.
Yeah.
And no one's going to watch the show on Cinco de Mayo. I'm sorry. Everyone's going to be out listening, hopefully listening to some great musicians and having a few cocktails. So myself included. And so my guest tonight has graciously agreed to bump forward the schedule to Tuesday night. Again, this is Tiki Tim's Trop Rock Tributes. It's a weekly question and answer interview. Usually goes for about an hour. It's here on Facebook, on my Facebook page. It's also rebroadcast later on YouTube. And also a lot of growing number of Trop Rock Parrot Head organizations have picked up and played the show either live or as a rebroadcast. And that's been very kind and very helpful to the show. And so what happens on Sunday night is Shore Life Radio at shoreliferadio.com picks up the audio version of this podcast. I do a little bit of editing with that, and they play Sundays at 8 p.m. This is all Eastern Standard Time. And so the show's got legs. I can tell you that. I can also, in the preview here, two really fascinating, really exciting things have happened musically in my life within the last month, but within the last week. My band, the Island Castaways Band, that I'm the drummer for, has just released a new single. I'll play it at the end of the show after the interview's done. But I got to tell you that the guest steel guitarist is none other than Mr. Doyle Grissom from Jimmy Buffett's Coral Reefer Band, which is unbelievable. It's an amazing song, and he just put mad pure magic into that song remotely through a studio environment. And so if you stick around till the end of the show, we're going to play that for you. We actually have a special lyric video prepared. I'll also, I feel like I'm out of breath. I don't think I'm having a heart attack or anything. I guess I'm a little nervous because my next announcement before we jump into the interview is next week. If everything works out and anything can happen, I have the distinct honor to tell all my fans here and guests that Mr. Roger Guth, the longtime drummer for Jimmy Buffett Coral Reefers Band, is going to be on the show with me next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so I know that's tough announcement to follow, but I'd like to introduce my guest tonight, Mr. Percy Abell. And I hope I pronunciated your last name correctly.
It was close, but I'm used to it. It's Abel.
Abel, how are you, Percy?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really good.
I'm excited to be on the show and just excited to be here.
Well, you know, it almost didn't happen.
Yeah, it almost didn't. We had we had a line of thunderstorms come through late afternoon that took out power to 30,000 people in our area, trees down, and I think maybe about 6:15 or so it came back on. So we got in the nick of time.
And we were scrambling. The show must go on. And so when you told me it wasn't going to happen, I started thinking, okay, what can I do? I can dip into the archives, replay some of that, do the Island Castaways thing, talk a little bit about Roger Guth and preview that. And then all of a sudden the power came back on.
Yes.
Which is awesome news. I will tell you that being up here in New England, we have our fair share of thunderstorms and big storms that roll west to east here out of Buffalo, New York. And, man, they hit us here. But I got to tell you, when our power goes down, it goes down for like a week, not for 45 minutes, Percy. So you got it.
We're fortunate with that. And most of the time, it's rare that I've had my power completely go out like it did today. It'll flicker. But there were a number of trees, I guess, in the area across the line. So,
well, we literally watched the National Grid trucks roll past our house for about 5 days before we get our power back on here. So You're lucky. You're a lucky one down there. Um,
Yes.
so let's jump into questions for those that don't know a lot about Percy or do. Um, he's a former college baseball coach, which I
Yep.
love, and I'd love to talk a little bit about baseball.
I'd
And
love to. Yeah.
I refer to you, Percy, as the professor
I
of
saw that.
Trop Rock. Well, I'll tell you, I coined that phrase. I made it up for you, special for the show, but I kind of like it. It kind of.
I did too. It was very good.
All right. All right. But there's another meaning that we'll get into in our
Okay.
questioning why he's the professor of Trop Rock. Um, but I mean, listen, it started way back for you, going through some of your materials, going through some of your biography, talking and listening to some previous interviews. What does Paul Overstreet and his songs mean to you?
Yeah. So I grew up on a family farm in Central Virginia, and I picked up playing the guitar somewhat early on. And so Paul Overstreet was a songwriter, and he had an album out at the time that kind of had a very country feel to it. And growing up in the country, I liked country music, and his lyrics stuck with me. They were about family and friends. And I bought one of those. Back then, you didn't have the internet, so I just bought one of those guitar books. It had all the chords to Paul Overstreet songs, and I still have that book today. And that's the book that I learned to play guitar to. And we would sit around as a family, whether it was a Saturday evening or a Sunday afternoon after lunch, and we would sing songs, and I would play, and they would sing whatever I could play, which typically at that point was Paul Overstreet. And I've been a big Paul Overstreet fan ever since, and I had the great pleasure of meeting him in Key West 2 years ago.
Really? He was performing down there, or?
So we were down there. I was playing at the Meeting of the Minds as well, and he was down there. And I just finished playing at man, I'm losing track of where I was actually playing. I was playing down Duval Street. How's that? And, and we had walked up Duval Street. My wife had walked up with some other Trop Rock artists, and we're walking up and listening to people play up and down Duval Street. And I was talking with Donnie Brewer, and really introducing myself to Donnie Brewer. And I turned around and I saw this cowboy hat coming down Duval Street, and I knew exactly who it was. And as he walked up, and he was chatting with some people, and I kind of walked over, introduced myself, and said hi to him, and talked a little bit about music. And it was just it was a great experience. I'll never forget that one.
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, you talk about Donnie Brewer. Donnie's scheduled to be on the show, and he did me a huge favor by agreeing to bounce the show from next week to a future week, so that we can get Roger Guth on next week, because he's pressed for time, as everybody knows.
Yeah.
Huge favor from Donnie. Thank you, Donnie. So you re-entered the musical market in 2018.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but you're not a late bloomer. You've been in music. You've been involved in music your whole life. You've been playing guitar for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
But my question is, you were a baseball coach for college baseball coach for 20 years. Which school or schools were you coaching at?
So at the university level, I was at the University of Lynchburg, which is here in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Okay.
And I played ball there, went to school there, and started my coaching career as an assistant coach at the university, and then left. And I think most people, when they think of college or university coaches, they think of football, basketball, and these $1 million contracts. Baseball doesn't have that. We don't make a lot of money. And so I bounced around at some high schools as well, and then ended up back at the university as the head coach, and was there for 20 years. I'm still there. I'm not coaching. I retired from coaching, but I still teach there and kept my faculty position.
Okay. So is that college? How is college baseball? Is double A baseball?
So you have Division I, Division II, and Division III. So we are a Division III university, which means we have no athletic scholarships. So your recruiting is based on academic standing and academic work.
Okay. So were you kind of like a hard ass coach with your players, or
I think
how would you describe your coaching acumen?
As a young coach, I was a little fired up. How's that?
All right.
But I mellowed as the years went on. And I think my former players would say the same thing. They would say, yeah, the guys that played for me early on would say, yeah, he could be pretty tough. But I will say I enjoyed the relationship with my players. And so even though I might have been hard on them during games or practice, I love spending time in the dugout on downtime, just talking with them, getting to know them. So there was a good balance.
Yeah. Did you play? You must have played ball then. You must have played baseball.
I did. I played all through high school, and I played in college as well.
What position?
I was a third baseman.
That's a tough position. I got to tell you, if you play, I played a little ball, but not at your level. But if you play third base, don't you have to be able to play all the bases?
Yeah, you gotta have some pretty quick reflexes. You have to be willing to play in a little bit, not afraid of the ball. Get good reads on hops. It's an interesting position to play.
So, what was your top? Let's see. I'm digging into baseball knowledge. RBI season.
Oh man, that's a long. I mean, you're asking me to look back 30 years. I don't know. I do know that for the longest time, I held quite a few records at the university for batting averages.
Really?
I was a pretty good hitter. And then I don't really hold many records now, as my former players have all broken those. But it was I was more known for my hitting than anything else.
Really? So how many home runs did you hit?
I was a leadoff guy. I was a leadoff guy, base stealer.
The base stealer.
Average, so didn't hit a lot of home runs. I did have my middle brother, the oldest of three boys, and my middle brother also played at the same university with me. He's 2 years younger. He had a little more home run power than I did.
Well, here's some. We'll get off baseball because this is, of course, not a baseball show. Yeah. But I will say this, that you're familiar with the Pawtucket Red Sox in Rhode Island. Yeah. They actually now are moving to Worcester, They have moved to Worcester, Massachusetts as the Woo Sox.
Okay.
For anybody that doesn't know, Worcester's right outside of Boston. But they are a AAA affiliate of the Boston Red Sox, and they're coming right into the second largest city in New England, Worcester, Mass. Their first game is next Wednesday. So a little bit of
one last baseball note on my son, or my wife and our son played minor league ball and had a short stint with the Brockton Rocks up that way.
Wow. All right. What's he doing? What's he doing now?
He is a special ed teacher here locally.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's 39 now. His baseball days are over.
Well, that's a great segue. Do you still play ball? Pick up ball?
I do not. The reflexes and all that are gone. We used to have an alumni baseball game every year where the alumni would come back and my current team would play against the alumni. And I did it for a while. And then when my pitchers started throwing inside and it looked really hard and it might hurt, I said, it's time for me not to get in that batter's box anymore. So
you got out. All right.
Yes.
Oh, you did a lot more than I did. That's for sure. I had one game where I was the all-star pitcher. I actually played left field my entire Little League career. There was one game where the coach was like, the other two pitchers were injured or they were just not doing well. He's like, Kane, come in here from left field. Because he saw me pitching, throwing balls in practice. And I had to pitch the game. And I literally, Percy, I threw 3 or 4 strikeouts in a row. I really loved the sidearm type.
Wow.
I was really into that. And my parents weren't there at that point, but when they showed up, I started sucking really bad, hitting batters, walking batters, and I get yanked from the game. So that's it. That was my pitching career. So
well, I had a pretty good career. I was fortunate. It's an interesting fact for my family. I am in the Athletic Hall of Fame at the university, and as a player, my middle brother who played there also in the Hall of Fame, and then our son is also in the Hall of Fame.
Wow, that's incredible! Congratulations!
It's pretty cool to walk by the stuff on the wall there and you see the 3 of us there. So it's pretty cool.
All right, so I'm going to jump way forward in the questioning because this is. I'm glad you told me that. Have you ever written a song about baseball?
I have not written a song about baseball. I haven't. I don't even know that I've had an idea of. It's never even come to my thoughts of any songs that I would write. So at this point, no. I've had some songs and ideas pitched to me. A really good friend of mine, Rick Hofel, he's a songwriter out of Texas. and we've co-written a couple songs together, and he's pitched a couple baseball ideas, and I've just not followed up with him yet.
Now, of course, I think it was John Fogerty who wrote the ultimate baseball tribute song of all time.
Yeah, and I think I want to say it might be the Boat Drunks, I believe, that wrote Beer, Buffett, and Baseball. And
yes, that is.
Yeah. So every time I hear that song, I'm like, yes, I like that.
We got to get the Boat Drunks on this show. So, all right, you passed your baseball coaching career, but you're actually a professor at a university level. Is this the University of Lynchburg in Northern Virginia that you're a professor?
We're in Central Virginia. Lynchburg is an hour an hour west of Charlottesville. So we're probably in a Danville, Charlottesville. We're about an hour from the North Carolina border, hour and a half from the North Carolina border. So our area is considered Central Virginia.
All right. So what do you teach at the university?
I teach in the School of Education. So I work with multiple areas. I work with health and wellness. I work with education majors that want to be teachers, and I work with outdoor recreation minors.
Wow. How long have you been, what's your tenure? Are you tenured there? Or have you been there?
Well, because of the coaches can never be tenured. And so when I retired.
Why not?
And yeah, we can't be tenured. Because we sign contracts and they want to be able to fire you if they have to.
Well, that's just a bad deal.
It is. So I am not tenured at this point. I retired from coaching 4 years ago, and I was doing both coaching and faculty the entire time. And so I met with the school, and they were like, "Yeah, well, you can keep your faculty position, not a problem." So that's what I do now, and I've been there 25 years now.
Wow, that's a long time, but all that time you were playing guitar. You're thinking about doing what you're doing now. And so
I love music.
I know you do. And so let's talk about it. In 2017, 2018, things started really flowing for you again. You made a concerted effort to jump back into the fray and make connections, relearn things, seek out advice. But most importantly, start writing a lot of songs. And just in my research, since then, you've cranked out like almost two dozen originals, close to that, I think.
Yeah, and I think I was looking through the bio after I sent it to you. I really need to update it because I write all the time. More songs are being written, more songs are being recorded, and so we're getting the goal of the first year to 2 years was, to try to get your name out there so people would know who you are. And so I was trying to put out one song every 2 months. And so I'm very fortunate to have a great studio within about a 30-minute drive of my house, Fainting Goat Studio. And Willie Gurley, the owner, he's awesome. And he didn't know me from anyone. I walked in there and I said, "Hey, I got this songs I've been writing. I don't want to record them and put them on the radio." Now, can you imagine someone walking into your studio off the street and going, "Hey, this is what I want to do"? And he's like, "Sure, we'll do it." And he'll tell you nowadays he thought I was crazy. But, I had been playing music, as you mentioned, I've been playing music for a long time. And I did put it on hold for my career as coaching because I just didn't have the time with recruiting, but I did still play around the house and with family. And the holidays would come around and everybody'd say, "Hey, bring your guitar. And we'd sit around and we'd play all kinds of country music and Buffett. And so I just started writing lyrics and of things that inspired me. And I love the beach. I love the ocean. I don't think there's a better place to be than on water. And we live on a lake here. When I look out this direction, I'm about 20 yards from the water. And so I can sit out on my screen porch, my patio, and just watch this body of water. And I love it. And so that's kind of how this song I started writing about what I loved.
That's cool. Back to the studio for a second. What was the name of that studio?
It's Fainting Goat.
Fainting Goat?
Yeah, okay. Fainting Goat Studio. And they are in Bedford, Virginia.
Bedford. And Willie is the owner?
Is the owner. It's really cool.
What's the setup there at Fainting Goat?
As far as what?
Just, I mean, are they fully digital? They still have all their analog stuff kicking around.
No, they're fully digital. He likes to play around with the old stuff.
Of
Like,
course.
like he likes to buy old stuff and refurbish it and see what he can do. But they're fully digital. They've got everything you could ever want to record and get stuff to the radio. He's got a full studio band if you need it, and they'll come in and they'll either all play live with you or you can do it separate. The keyboard player there played in Charlie Daniels' band.
Oh, nice.
He's got a couple of musicians that were Nashville studio musicians that live around Smith Mountain Lake that come in there. So it's a really nice setup.
So what are your, you've written a bunch of tunes. What are your 2 or 3 favorite tunes?
Wow, it's hard because they're like your kids. I always tell you, my songs are like your kids, like pick one. I think I released one and I didn't release it. I don't know if I released it to every radio station because it was a very specific song, but I wrote a song recently and it's been out maybe 8 months. It did go to #1 on the Trop 40. It was called Moon Over Manio. And that one I like a lot because of the lyrics that I wrote into it. And the second verse starts off in the summer of '83. In the summer of '83, my wife and I were married and we went down to the Outer Banks together. I consider it kind of one of the first times we went there together. And, so that second verse is kind of about us a little bit.
Cool. Hey, could you mind playing that for us?
No, glad to. I always tell people too, dude, I tend to butcher my own songs because I've written so many, you tend to forget them. To be a pirate's life for me. The first night I walked out on that beach, ghost ships and pirate tales, a lost colony, stories that fueled my fantasy. Standing by the ocean 500 times long ago with the old man, moon over Manio. There's beauty and there's mystery in the night sky on the coast. It lights up the ocean, it stirs my soul. The sunrise and the sunsets sure put on a show, but there's something special about the moon over Manio. Was the summer of '83, with the girl of my dreams, we made the trip back to that place. I knew that it was meant to be some kind of destiny, as the moonlight smiled down on her face. Standing by the ocean, we pondered where our lives would go with the old man, the moon over Manio. There's beauty and there's mystery in the night sky on the coast. It lights up the ocean, it stirs my soul. The sunrise and the sunsets sure put on a show, but there's something special about the moon over Manio. We still visit that island to sail the soft summer wind. As each day turns into nighttime, raise a toast to him. There's beauty and there's mystery in the night sky on the coast. It lights up the ocean, stirs my soul. Sunrise and the sunsets sure put on the show, but there's something special about the moon over Manico. Yeah, there's something special about the moon over Manico. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So, how many opportunities have you had to play that live?
Well, since we released it, everything's been closed down. So I actually got to play live this past Saturday. I had a local show, and I got to play it live. And it's weird because you try to, during the time everything was shut down, you try to play around your house. I did a couple video concerts, but honestly, I didn't do many because I still had a full-time job. I was still teaching, and I felt like I was taking tips or money away from full-time artists, and I didn't want to do that. So I didn't do very many shows online because of that. And so I would play around the house and try to keep up with my songs. And then the first time you play out live, you're just like, oh, make sure I remember the chord progression and the changes and all the above. So I've had a few times to play live, but not enough.
Well, do you have any more songs? What's your, what some of your other favorites? I mean,
so Raise the Colors is one I really enjoy playing. Raise the Colors, it's a fictional song, but it does have some personal stuff too. So my father, he went back to my grandfather was a dairy farmer. My dad ended up being a dairy farmer later in life, but before that, he was in insurance. And so we lived down in Columbia, South Carolina, and we used to go to Myrtle Beach. Now that was before Myrtle Beach was the Myrtle Beach it is today. It was pretty secluded houses down there. And then later in life, as we moved back to Virginia and Dad started doing stuff on the farm, we would go to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So the Raise the Color song is kind of me reflecting back on some of the things of going to the beach, and you see me looking down. I'm pulling up the lyrics because again, I haven't been able to play out live much lately, so I'm still trying to make sure I get them all right.
Well, most of the people that play out live use an iPad, so.
Well, I do for cover songs, but I try, like with my own songs, I try not to. But man, the more you write and the more you put out, the more. So this is called Raise the Colors, and it's really about. We used to fly kites when we went to the beach all the time, and. So it's a combination of, you think of Raise the Colors like raising the Jolly Roger flag, and that's kind of the theme of the song. But for me, it's my brothers and I at the beach. We're flying these kites off these decks, and we always were trying to see who could get their kite the highest in the air. And all of us were athletes playing football on the beach and diving in the waves. So here we go. Raise the Colors. We loaded up that old wood panel wagon like the crew of an old pirate ship. Set sail for a week at the beach. There were times I'll never forget. I had dreams of sailing out on the sea. It was a pirate's life for me. And we raised the colors and boys, pillage and plunder. Spending all week at the beach, playing football, diving in the water, catching the biggest waves. Got a little pirate in our soul, and we raise the colors, boys. Raise the colors, boys. The sawbox house on the front row will be our makeshift port. The seagrass and the sand dunes of the island I'll be shipwrecked on. Jolly Roger was waving outside. Summer banners flying high, and we raise the colors, boys, pillage and plunder. Spending all week at the beach, playing football, diving in the water, catching catching the biggest waves. Got a little pirate in our souls, and we raise the colors, boys. Raise the colors, boys. Raise the colors, boys. Raise the colors, boys. Well, I still back that Okari and head for a week at the beach. Time's gone by and I'm older now. That old flag still goes with me. I'm not searching for silver or gold. Need a little salt back in my soul. And we raise the colors, boys, village of plunder. Spending all week at the beach, playing football, diving in the water, catching the biggest waves. Got a little pirate in our souls, just like those pirates of old. And we raise the colors, boys. Raise the colors, boys. Raise the colors, boys. Raise the colors, boys.
Nice.
Raise the colors.
Do you ever like not regret, right? But do you ever think back and say, if I didn't spend so many years as a baseball coach and as a college professor, and I just jumped into the fray, into the music biz, and just tried to survive there, how your life would have been at this point? You ever think about that?
I do. I mean, I've got a lot of, I think part of songwriting is I guess retrospective, thinking back and thinking on things. And I do. I think I've always loved music. I still remember, I guess my first memories of music was my mom playing Elvis Presley records in our house. And
mine too.
Yeah, and then it evolved into me finding other things. And as a young kid, I was always a huge John Denver fan. I loved his lyrics. I loved everything about. And we growing up on a farm in the country, the mountains, the themes that he put out there. I like storytellers.
Yeah.
And so, I think about that. Like, if I had thought about it, but it just wasn't it was never in a thought process back then. It was like, hey, this is fun. I like playing. But it wasn't in a track that I thought was even possible at the time. And I think nowadays, with the ability to have independent artists and everything that's out there, certainly it's a great time to be trying to do this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Back to John Denver for a sec. I never saw John Denver, but my mom, who's a huge Elvis fan, they did see John, and I consider John Denver probably one of the greatest songwriters in America.
Oh, yes. I love his music.
Yeah, it's unbelievable and underrated too.
I would agree. I tell people sometimes, I say, sometimes people will laugh at you if you say John Denver was one of your favorites. Like, really, John Denver? Like, I just love his stuff, and I still have the John Denver greatest hits on vinyl, and we play it around the house on our record player just to hear the vinyl part of it. So
it's not even his voice; it's how he constructed his songs. Yeah. If people actually take the time to listen to how he plotted his songs out, it's unbelievable. Very tragic loss with him.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So let's move on. And if we have time at the end, we'll jump onto a third tune. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Right. So you mentioned you went to Meeting of the Minds, and I always have to ask your experiences there. Are there any stories to tell from Meeting of the Minds?
Really, it was a pretty tame week. My wife and I were only there for 3 days. Again, I'm still teaching and working full time, so I schedule stuff based around my class schedule and when we can fly in and out. So we flew in, I think, if I remember correctly, with everything that went on a year ago, we got in on I want to say Friday morning down there and got checked into the hotel. And then I headed off to meet Rick Hofel. And I want to put a plug out to Rick again. Rick was a co-writer on Moon Over Manio. And I went to meet Rick and Carl Page down on Duval Street. Those are guys that, I mean, Carl was instrumental. He's the one that got me in the right direction in trop rock. I mean, I had the songs, I had the lyrics, I didn't know what to do with them. And he's the one that said, hey, contact these people, get your songs recorded, and these are the people you need to get them to.
Okay, so there's no war stories from Meeting of the Minds.
The only story, and my colleagues back at the university laugh at this, is that we were to fly out Sunday to head back to Lynchburg. I had on Monday. We get to the airport and our flight was canceled. And there were storms between Key West and Miami, and the shuttle flight was not coming to pick us up at the time. So the lady at the airport said, you can do one of two things. You can wait till later this evening and we'll fly you to Miami, where you can spend the night in Miami, then fly back to your home on Monday, or you can stay here in Key West and we'll fly you out tomorrow from here. I'm like, well, that's an easy choice. So we did. My wife and I decided to stay in Key West an extra day. So that Sunday night, I get on the phone, I'm texting different people. Tim Campbell was still down there. Boomer Blake was still down there. Danny Rosado was still down there. And so I'm sending out messages, hey guys, where is everybody playing tonight? And they were all going to be over at Blue Heaven. And so I head over, my wife and I check in, grab the guitar, we head over to Blue Heaven, and really we're just going over there, and you keep your guitar with you because you know the chances someone will invite you up on stage. And I did get a chance to play at Blue Heaven that night. So if our flight was not canceled, I would not have had that opportunity to meet Boomer and Danny in person and play during their sets over at Blue Heaven. So that's really the only real stories. It was a quick go down there. I played for Tiki Man Radio at their songwriter showcase, and then got to. For me, it was about meeting the artists, because I'm still new to this. I'm still trying to meet people and just kind of make those connections. I did get to meet Tina Gullickson from the Coral Reefers.
Nice.
She was also stranded in the airport with me, and I just said, I'm going to go say hi to her. And I did, and she was very polite.
Well, you mentioned Tiki Man Radio. I listened to your interview and doing some research on the show. That's a good show. People should check that show out. He knows his stuff, man, particularly in radio and stuff. But one of the points Tiki Man Radio made is this argument about producing EPs over albums, or pushing out singles instead of EPs or albums, and it's so convoluted to what it used to be, and everyone wanted the 10 to 12 track full album enchilada, and it's not so true anymore. And has that changed your mindset at all in your philosophy to publishing?
It has. When I first went to the studio, my first thing was, hey, I want to record a song, but I want to record an album. And Willie is a younger guy, and he looked at me and he said, you're not going to record an album. He goes, you need to do either singles or an EP. And I'm like, what's an EP? And he's like, that's 5 or 6 songs. And then as I started asking more questions with everybody else, that's exactly what you're hearing from the radio stations and everybody's like, if you do a full album, you're probably going to have a lot of wasted songs that no one's ever going to hear. And if you want people to hear your songs, so we have gone with the route of putting out singles that eventually I will put onto a album, but that's after all of them are already out there on their own.
Yeah, so the album's almost, for you, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it's almost like an archive of your singles that you released.
Yeah, and being that the guys at the studio, the owners, Willie and the guys that work there, they're younger, and their idea is that people are not buying hard copies of stuff anymore. But then when I go play Parrot Head clubs or out playing shows, our generation still asks, do you have a CD? And so I think having that out there with the archive of songs for them is beneficial. But as far as releasing to radio stations, they're pretty clear. They want the singles or just a couple songs here and there that they can then highlight and play.
Yeah, and I mean, artists are carrying around the cards now, handing out to fans instead of a CD. Here, go online. Here's, Yeah,
because you can get free cards from CD Baby and other places that you can get free downloads.
Yeah. Well, let's stick on that for a sec. I mean, we're products of the 70s and 80s here. I don't have to beat around the bush. I'm not 30 anymore. Um, doesn't it that evolution away from full length albums to EPs and now it's singles? Doesn't it take some of the artistry away from a band or even a solo artist approaching it with a theme? You know, because we remember the 70s and 80s, a lot of those albums are very thematic.
They are, and I think what I remember from the bands and groups that I listened to was their artwork as well. Like you would go buy that vinyl, and the artwork was impressive. I think Jimmy Buffett actually put something out there once. He said you spent more on the artwork and the vinyl than you on that than you actually did recording the song sometimes. But yeah, the themes and the ideas that went with them, and I've thought about, like, if I were putting out an album or CD, full length, would I be able to go back and group my songs according to the thematic stuff they have with them? And because when we decide to release a song, we don't release them and record them based on, well, it sounds like the last one or it's similar. It's like, which one am I excited about now? And unfortunately, some of the songs I wrote early on haven't been released because I get really excited about the ones I'm currently writing. But yeah, I think one of the artists, I guess, for me, like current artists, like I listen to Jesse Rice a lot, and I don't know if you're familiar with Jesse. And his Pirate Sessions had their themes to them, and he also will take a line from each song and write a new song based on that line or word. So he's kind of taken some of that concept and doing it as well.
Interesting. That's an interesting approach to kind of bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And you mentioned artistry and artwork. It's kind of been, kind of a lost art in a way, but it came back recently when vinyl started coming back again. So, well, I mean, let's move on a little bit to songwriting. I'd love to talk with singer-songwriters and guitarists about their process in putting their songs together. Where do you grab your ideas from? I mean, you just mentioned that you put aside a group of songs because you have all these fresh ideas.
Yeah.
So is it a sporadic thing? Is it a planned thing? Is it just, listen, I love that riff, that lick, I'm just going to go with it. What's the genesis for you for songwriting?
So for me, it is kind of like the spur of the moment thing. An idea will pop in my head, and then I will continue to work on it until I complete it. I might go a week and not have an idea or anything going on. I still play my guitar every day. I'll go through chord progressions and see if something sounds cool. But it's usually ideas. So the Moon Over Manio came because there's a radio station, Radio Free Outer Banks. And the Greg Smurdell, who is one of the owners and DJs, put a picture on Facebook of a full moon over the Pamlico Sound, and someone commented, this would be a cool song. And so I just typed back in, I've got this. And so I just took that picture and developed a storyline around the Moon Over Manio. And then growing up, it was always the Old Man and the Moon. So I add that line in there. And it's interesting that younger people don't get Old Man and the Moon. They think I'm talking about an actual old man standing beside me on the beach versus the Man in the Moon. Rays of Colors just comes from wanting to write a pirate-esque song. And the Jolly Roger flag, my wife and I have a boat on the lake, and we have to fly a big pirate flag off of it. So it was like, all right, I want to write a song about the pirate flag. How can I incorporate it into a story? Well, we went to the beach all those years. This was my experience at the beach. And so that's how for me, songs come about. I do get family members that will pitch me ideas. My stepbrother threw out an idea for a song called No Wake Zone, which I recorded. And, No Wake Zone is a place on our lake where you can't go past idle speed. I turned it into a song about slowing your life down. And so you get these ideas, and then you just have to sit down and figure out where you're going to go with it. And for me, sometimes it's 3 a.m. in the morning. You wake up in the wee hours of the morning and you go, there's a line right there. And I just type it into my phone, because if I don't, I'll forget it. And,
all right. So just like I think it was Cat Stevens, Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon, Little Boy Blue and the Man in the Moon, right?
Exactly.
So for you, it's lyrically driven.
Yes. I like to have an idea of a chord progression, but it doesn't have to be there. Typically, it's a hook or a hook line that gets me at first, and then I kind of run with it, and I decide on the chord progression as I'm moving along. I'll just sit and I'll just play, and I'll go through chords and see how it sounds. And I can write a song in 20 minutes, or I can write it in 3 weeks. It just depends on how it's flowing.
Okay. Who do you work with for musicians? I know you mentioned one or two. I always like to try to talk about drummers, because I'm a drummer, and if you worked with drummers, here's your opportunity to heap some praise upon them.
I definitely love drums in my songs. I love that. But typically when I go out and play, I am a solo act. I've not, at this point, when I first started going out in, I guess, 2018 around here and trying to pitch, hey, I'm a singer-songwriter, I want to play locally. And it was just me and my guitar, because people weren't going to pay for a band to go do that, because they didn't know who I was. And so I've gotten used to doing the solo acoustic thing. So I've not ever played live with a band at a show. Now, it is in my wheelhouse and it's in my thoughts. So last year, before the COVID shutdown, we were going to do a thing here locally at a brewery called Parrot Head Lawn Party, which is based off one of the songs I wrote. And we were going to put a full band together and do a full concert, bring another band in, and we were going to do a big Parrot Head Day at this brewery, and it got canceled. So hopefully we'll do that later this summer. The studio, the owner of the studio, Willie, is my drummer. So
Okay.
that's
Willie's a drummer. Nice.
He plays all the drums on all my songs, and then when
Awesome.
if I get locally and start playing, Willie's great. Willie is that heavy metal rocker. He's got long black hair. He weighs about $120 soaking wet. He looks like that heavy metal guy. He's got a great voice.
Yeah.
He can play tons of instruments. So he does the drums. He does some background vocals for me. He's done some lead guitar stuff as well in there. And so very talented guy.
That's cool. Do you know Willie's last name?
Gurley, Gurley.
Okay, Willie Gurley. Another good drummer out there. Now, I know what you're saying about the solo thing versus band thing. I mean, we have that going on up here. In fact, you mentioned breweries, and there's so many microbreweries around my house up here. It must be at least 10 within a 30-mile radius, 10 different local microbreweries, meaning they're brewing their own beer on site. Is that happening down there?
Yes, we actually have the breweries, distilleries, and wineries have exploded in our region to the point now we have tours. You can go rent a bus and they'll take you on tours where you get to drink all day and someone drives you.
Oh, good idea.
They're everywhere down here, and there's one right up the road from me here called Apocalypse Brewery. The gentleman that owns it and does the brewmaster there went to the same university with me, and loves trop rock music. And he's a big fan of my music, and so I get to play over there a couple times a year. He personally shows up. He sits front and center and requests songs, and doesn't leave until I'm done playing. And their beer is really good, so enjoy playing there.
Yeah, it's some of the microbreweries, and particularly IPAs. You can't replace it. You can't find it.
I agree.
So when you were growing up, what was it like growing up on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and how did that influence you, possibly on guitar?
Well, we would visit there and vacation there a lot growing up and spend a ton of time down there. And I think just finding the love of the beach was the first thing. I love the ocean. I love being there on the sand dunes, the nights, everything about the ocean I love. I love seafood. I love everything about it. I love the smell of the salty air. And so then you would hear songs, and of course, Jimmy Buffett was a big key in that. You would hear people playing songs about oceans or beaches or boats and so forth. And I would kind of click with that. I'm like, oh, I love that song. And so whenever I was at the beach, I would try to find music. And so as time went on, I would find other artists that started playing and recording songs like that. And so you'd listen to it, then you start playing it on your guitar, and that feel just starts coming along. I think it really kicked into overdrive when Kenny Chesney put "Be As You" was it "Be As You Are," the Blue Chair CD out years ago, and man, I just fell in love with that one. And so, just hearing songs and lyrics about things that I enjoy, and back then there weren't a lot of what I would say true. I didn't know a true trop rock artist. I didn't know anything about that stuff way back when. I was just searching for music that had beaches and stuff in it. And then that really influenced me. Actually, it influenced me to play the guitar more, to pick it up and start learning those songs, sit around the house and play. And when you would have, long weekends of games, and if you had a good weekend and you won all your games, you came home and you're like, yeah, I'm happy I'm playing. If you had a bad weekend and didn't win as many games, you might come home and play a couple of beat songs that made you feel better. Kind of escapism.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be because I'm wrong a lot. Is that not Blackbeard country down there?
It is Blackbeard country, yeah, down on the island of Ocracoke. There's actually, you have the beaches down there where he would hole up it's kind of hiding out in those inlets back there. So yes.
That's pretty awesome. I love that.
It is. And so just to study the history of pirates down there, it's pretty cool.
That's cool. So, this show, just a quick break. The show will rebroadcast on YouTube. It'll also rebroadcast on Facebook the next few days. And then it goes on Shore Life Radio at shoreliferadio.com on 8 p.m. on Sunday, and then the following Wednesday at 3 p.m. And that's the audio version of it. If you're wondering why I have a trombone on my set, there's a quick story. I have played trombone since the 4th grade, along with the drums. And that trombone right there, Percy, is from the 4th grade. You can see the dents in it. I actually dropped it a number of times, but it still plays awesome. I won't play it today because I haven't played it in a while. But it's great to have you on. We have some more time here, and I have more questions. When you think about like your favorite trop rock artists out there today, or even favorite cover songs by trop rock artists, where are the top 5 for you?
Wow, that's gonna be hard because I love so many different people, and I don't want to offend anybody by not.
No, I don't blame you.
But so Jesse Rice is probably one of the top ones I listen to. I love his Pirate Session albums. Enjoy the way he writes and the way he sings, and of course his topics are perfect for the trop rock world. I would say, Boomer Blake, I didn't know much about Boomer until I met him down in Key West, and what a tremendous singer that he is, and what a great voice. And I really enjoy some of his songs also. Erica Sunshine Lee, I hear a lot of her stuff, and I enjoy her stuff and listening to what she has. There's a local guy here in Lynchburg that is, his name is Jamie Trent. And I don't know that Jamie has exploded on the trop rock scene, but he's exploded on the country scene. One of his songs is in the country top 100. But he has written some songs, The Outer Banks of Caroline. He wrote a song, Airport Margaritas, which is a really good one. And so I enjoy his music as well. Donnie Brewer, I listen to a lot of Donnie Brewer stuff when I'm here. And there's like songs for so many people that my playlist for trop rock is about 5 hours long. And I keep adding songs to it. And so when I play shows, when I take a break, I put my trop rock playlist on. And so they can hear all the other artists and all the other songs that are out there. I like Michael Franti and Spearhead. Enjoy their music as well. So I have a wide variety of things that I listen to, along with still listening to Buffett and Chesney.
Of course. What do you have coming up for music stuff? I know it's tough right now for everybody, and I know it was very, you mentioned this earlier in the interview, it was a very honorable thing you said, that as a part-time musician, you felt the need during COVID to step aside so that you're not taking work away from the full-timers that have been doing it for decades, years.
Yeah, I felt really strongly about that. I had people that reach out and say, hey, you're going to do more of these concerts. And I did one big one, a couple hours, but after that, I'm just not going to do it. I was still working. I was still getting a paycheck. And I knew from watching the internet, the artists that were trying to get their shows out there. And I was like, I'm not going to step in line and take away from them. We have started booking some stuff locally. Things are starting to open back up here in Virginia. Some of my local places around Smith Mountain Lake, Portside Grill, give them a shout out because they were the place that gave me my first start. So I played some shows there. Mitchell's Point Marina up at Smith Mountain Lake, Waterstone Pizza downtown, Apocalypse, Ellsworth. So I'll be playing multiple shows throughout May, June, July, and August at those places. And I'm going to put those dates up on my Facebook page, Percy Abell Music, so you can check out those. The big events, I did get booked to play Whiskey Joe's for the Tampa Bay Parrot Head Club in July. I think it's July 21st. It's a Wednesday. So we'll be down there in Tampa. I'm excited about that. And just trying to, I've got a couple private house concerts that we're doing. One on the Outer Banks of North Carolina in June, or I can't remember now, July I think it is. Looking forward to that as well. Really trying to get into that house concert venues, trying to get my name out for those as well. I would love to, even if I open up for other people, like Tim Campbell, I opened up for Tim Campbell on the first Trop Rock events I ever played. I reached out to him and he was doing a show in January up in Northern Virginia. And I said, hey, this is who I am. I had one song out at the time and he's like, yeah, come on up. And I went up and I opened up for him and his band. And so, I'd love to keep doing events like that just to get the songs and the name out there.
That's awesome. We have time for one more question. You've been a great guest to have on, Percy. And actually, I ask this question every week. It's the closing question. And I think being a college professor, you could actually add a really unique perspective because you hear and you see the struggles that our students today are facing in this job market, particularly with COVID now, but even before that, particularly for aspiring musicians and songwriters out there. And so get inside their minds. What advice have you given them, quite frankly, as a professor?
Well, and being in the education department, I don't run across a lot of the musicians. I have had some of the musicians in my classes, and my wife and I, we support our athletic programs, but we also support the arts. We go to a lot of the plays and musical events on our campus to support all my students. And they know what I do on the side. And I had a student today in my class. She's like, hey, we listened to your songs the other night. And I said, what'd you think? She goes, they were good. I'm like, well, thank you. Like, from my experience, and I teach a lot of my kids from my own experiences, is that one, don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there because you never know until you try. And if you don't try, then it's not going to happen. And if I had never reached out to Carl Page, if I had never taken the initiative to find a studio, record a song, and send it out to see what would happen, I would not be sitting here being interviewed with you today, or have songs out there, or have a couple of songs make it on the Trop 40. And so they just need to put themselves out there and go pursue it, because you never know what's going to happen. It's not always going to be easy, but if you're willing to learn and if you're willing to seek out people that are willing to help you. And that has been the most wonderful thing about the Trop Rock world, is everybody is gracious and helpful.
Awesome. Percy Abell, thank you very much for being on the show. We hope to have you on again. Please keep us updated as to your progress and what you're working on musically. And
we got 2 new songs coming out in the next month. We're going to have one called Sandbar Pirates, and we're going to have one called Motion of the Ocean. So both will be coming out very soon.
See, there's that Blackbird Pirate connection again. It's coming right through.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Percy. I want to just end as I began to say that I'm the drummer for the Island Castaways Band. I host Tiki Tim's Trop Rock Tributes. This is the second season. This is episode 5 or 6 of the second season. And it's now picked up by Shore Life Radio. And actually, a lot of the Trop Rock Parrot Head clubs also pick it up, which I love. And that's awesome, including Tampa Bay's Parrot Head Club. And so it's going well. It's picking up steam. And next week, if everything works out scheduling wise, and I'll have more info on this later in the week, I'm so stoked and excited that Mr. Roger Guth, the longtime drummer for Jimmy Buffett and the Coral Reefer Band, is going to actually be on my show if everything works out. So you guys have to check the show out next week. That's planned for Wednesday, May 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In-depth interview with Roger Guth, one of the best drummers really in our country. And you can check it out right here. Very exciting times coming up. The other exciting thing in connection to Jimmy Buffett is my own band, the Island Castaways Band. Mr. Doyle Grissom from the Coral Reefer Band was very humble and kind to offer his steel guitar work on our latest track that we just released. And I want to preview this song for everybody. And when you hear Doyle's steel guitar on it, he's just going to melt you. It's pure magic. It took our song from here way above. And so I'm going to try to screen share it here. This is a lyric video, so I'm going to go away, and it's just going to take me a second to share it off of here. So please be patient. That's actually how we're going to end our show tonight, is with the Island Castaways Band, Return to Cayo, which was composed by our guitarist, Jim O'Brien, of course, with the rest of the band, but Jim O'Brien wrote the song and wrote the lyrics, and Mr. Doyle really added so much to it. Thank you so much. And so hopefully we'll see everybody here next week with Mr. Roger Guth, the drummer for Jimmy Buffett. Pardon the feedback. Here we go. Return to Cayo.
Gee, it's good to be back here again. This protocol has always been a friend. My soul rests so easy where it is warm and breezy, and palm trees gently sway in the wind. Sound of music permeates the air. Calypsos and merengues everywhere. Parties are in motion down here by the ocean, where the thrill of sunset never disappears. Sunny day, island waves, tropical depressions far away. Air is sweet with gumbo heat. Sound of reggae filling up the streets. Find the fire where I can rest my bones. With this nomadic soul can call a home. This latitude's appealing, sends my spirits reeling. These gypsy feet no longer wanna roam. this nomadic soul can call a home. This latitude's appealing, sends my senses reeling. These gypsy feet no longer wanna roam. Finally found a place for my own. Kaya whistles where they so belong. Finally found